Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Brother Augustine channel, where my guests and I seek to edify, educate, and entertain the world from an Orthodox Christian perspective. I have a very special guest for you all today, my first monastic that I've had on the channel, and a man who once upon a time made a shaving soap just for me with the sense that I wanted in it. And I hope he'll talk to us about all of these things today. So, Father Martin Gardner, welcome to the show.
Christ is risen.
Truly, he is risen. Would you mind introducing yourself to the audience just in case they're not familiar with where you live and what monastery you're at?
Sure. Well, my name is Father Martin. I'm just a monk, not a priest. And I live on Vashon Island at the Monastery of All Merciful Savior Monastery. Abbot Trifon is our abbot, and there are 6 of us here in community. And my obedience is making soaps, beard oils, and mustache wax, as well as cooking and various other things.
Well, thank God. The reason I invited you on the show today is because I'm doing this little series of Orthodox, what I'm calling business profiles, because I think that the Orthodox should support each other more, frankly. You look at all kinds of other religious communities, they're very insular, they help each other out. And a lot of Orthodox Christians will buy our necessities and even some luxury things from companies that are opposed to Christianity rather than buying from each other. And so I'm hoping that we can change that a little bit. So I've invited you on today to speak about your products and the things that you make out there. So my first question for you, Father, is when did you start making all of these things? Was it something that you came into the monastery knowing how to do, or were you given the obedience and then you learned kind of on the job?
Well, first of all, I speak for all of us that will be doing these videos with you that we appreciate the free advertising. And
well, thank God.
I've been a bit of a chemist hack and an artist hack all my life, I suppose. Mom was always asking me what I was doing in the garage when I was making bombs or taking apart water into hydrogen and oxygen and making loud bangs and things like that. Don't worry, I'm not a terrorist. Not those kind of bombs. But yeah, I've always been interested in chemistry. And so I was at a monastery in Northern California, and we had goats there. And one of the things we wanted to get into doing was making goat milk soap. And so one of the monks had gotten all the equipment, and he was also taking care of the goats. And but he just didn't have time to do anything with it. And so this material just sat, and finally I said, well, do you mind if I try? I'm kind of interested in soap making. I'd been reading up on it, and so I did that, and it was a success. I had many failures. Making soap is a chemical reaction, and so things can go wrong if you're not really aware of what you're doing. In the beginning, I made a lot of mistakes. But that's how I got started, and later when I came here to Vashon Island, the monks kindly let me have all my old soap equipment from that monastery there, and I brought it here and started back up.
All right. Well, out of curiosity, when you say if you do the wrong chemical reaction, it's a mistake, what does it look like to make a mistake with soap? Does it explode? Does it not solidify? Does it just get slimy? Like, what are we talking about in terms of the effect of doing it badly?
Well, the worst mistake you can make is to measure incorrectly and end up with too much lye. I don't know if any of your readers are familiar with that film. What is that film?
You're talking about Fight Club?
Yes, Fight Club. Yes. There's an episode there where there's a lye that meets the skin and it burns it. So you don't want that in your soap, and so that would be the biggest mistake. And if I do that, I have to take it and either completely redo it as a bat. It'll be an ugly soap, but it'll be functional, and we can use it ourselves, or into a laundry soap. But yeah, that's one mistake I've made. There's other mistakes where it just doesn't come together, doesn't solidify, and I don't always know why that is. When in hindsight, if I suppose I might figure it out, but back then I didn't know what it was, what went wrong. There are many things we add to the soap: color, pigments, and scents, and different scent agents, either essential oils or fragrance oils, can accelerate the reaction. It's like a catalyst. It can be a catalyst. There are very few ones that are anti-catalysts, which I like because that slows down the reaction, which is helpful in certain situations. Uh, so yeah, it can become soap too fast and you can't get in the mold quick enough. So that's a mistake that's happened before.
Interesting.
Those are the two biggies.
Okay, so it can burn your skin or solidify too fast, pretty much. Definitely mistakes to avoid.
Yeah.
So now that we've kind of gone over what it looks like when it's not correct, I understand you have some samples with you of what it looks like when it is correct.
Yeah,
Would you mind showing off some of your wares for us?
sure. I'll start with the most boring looking. It's a pine tar soap. And this is very good for people that have skin problems like eczema, psoriasis, things like that. It has, I believe, 10% pine tar in it. So as a soap, it doesn't last real long because 10% of the bar is actually not soap, but pine tar. But it's great for that. It's very mild and smells. It doesn't. I didn't add any fragrance to it, but it just smells like pine because pine tar. It's great. That's probably one of our hardest ones to keep in stock. I also have branched out into shampoo. And this is an example of one of our shampoo soaps, Gardenia shampoo soap. It smells like gardenia. Now, this one has no fragrance at all. This one is scented with a fragrance oil, which is something that's, you could say it's unnatural on the one hand. But then again, many natural things like essential oils are actually very harsh on the skin, whereas things that were made in chemistry lab using different dermatologists and scientists, they know what works with the skin, what doesn't work, and so they're oftentimes actually safer, even though they're less natural. And for some reason, they often fly off the shelf quicker when people are coming in and really smelling things. So they're engineered, let's say. So that's Gardenia shampoo soap. I also have another shampoo soap that is made with essential oils. This one. It has tea tree oil in it and fir needle. And I think just a little bit of patchouli as a base note. One of the things when you're making your own scents using essential oils, you've got top notes and middle notes and base notes, and you try and mix and match to find something that works. Which is also what I did for the soap I made for you. You gave me the ideas, but they were perfect. They were frankincense, peppermint, and lavender. Frankincense is kind of a middle note. Peppermint is a high note, and I think lavender is a middle to. It also grounds it like a base note, but it works very well. Can be used as a shaving soap, but it can also be used as a shampoo, and even just regular soap. I've used it for all three. Well, now I haven't used it for shaving, but I have you to use it for shaving. So
That's right. And for those listening at home, not only is that shaving soap great, as I can tell you from personal experience, it's lasting me a long time. Now, to be fair, I usually just shave under my neck here, and obviously not the main beard. But I got that from you a long time ago, and I'm still using that same disc of soap, believe it or not. So I definitely recommend that one.
good. So you must be doing the right thing, which is to keep it dry.
Oh yeah.
So if you do get into natural soaps, you want to make sure you've got a good soap, what do you call dish, that has one of those things with these spikes on it that raises it up so that it can actually dry as you're letting it, in between use. Here's another simple soap that I have, which is a nod to our Greek friends. It's called Ouzo charcoal. It's made with activated charcoal, and it's a black bar, solid. And it's scented with anise essential oil. It smells just like ouzo. It's also a hard one to keep in stock. So those are my more plain soaps. I've also branched into some more artistic techniques. Some of our techniques for pigmenting soaps are actually drawn from paper painting. which is an art that they have in Venice, which they learned from the Turks, and I'm pretty sure the Turks learned from the Byzantines.
Hmm.
If you're familiar with the inside covers of really fancy books where it's got all the swirling paint in
Hmm.
various colors. Here's a good example of that technique. I don't know if you can see how the lighting
Yeah.
is. It's called Peggy's Peacock Swirl. Peggy is a faithful customer and an old friend, an Orthodox woman. And she told me that she liked the combination of vanilla and lavender, which I thought that's really weird. I never heard of that before. I don't know if I want that. And I think she actually gave me some tea that was vanilla and lavender
Hmm.
scented, and it was actually good. But I tried it. The problem with vanilla is that vanilla reacts with oxygen over time to become brown, which is why the vanilla bean is brown
Hmm.
and vanilla extract is brown. Vanilla ice cream somehow is white. I think it's because of all the dairy. But so what I had to do is the bottom of the soap, you can see that, is vanilla, and the top is lavender. And the top is where I used all the different colors. I put the colors into the mold in striations and stripes, and then used a comb made out of skewers and cardboard. I just made watching somebody on YouTube, and used the comb to comb through the colors to cause these swirling lines. And then I took a chopstick and shaped the swirls in the shape of peacock
Hmm.
shells, sort of a shell shape. But yeah, that's
Very
that
cool.
technique. Pretty sure originally it was a Byzantine art back in the day of the empire.
So it's come full circle.
It's come full circle, that's right. Here's a similar one. This is also a nod to our friends in Alaska. There's a monastery, and this is where St. Herman was, Spruce Island. And so it's called Spruce Island Swirl.
Oh, cool.
And whenever I can, I use natural coloring agents, like the black is charcoal, the brown is cocoa,
Hmm.
and the green, it's a faded green, it's kind of muted, but it's a spirulina,
Hmm.
which some people use as a supplement. I find it's a great pigment. It doesn't always hold the color. I use spirulina also in this shampoo bar to give it the greenish color. Unfortunately, as it gets exposed to light, even just indoor light, it fades a little bit around the
Hmm.
edges. Adds character, right?
There you go. Kind of matches your wallpaper on the different sides of the soap.
Could be. Let's see. Here's another that uses a similar technique to the Spruce Island swirl. I call it Maelstrom. I thought
Hmm.
about spelling it M-A-L-E because I'm trying to like have a soaps that men would like to use, and it
Sure.
does have very strong masculine cologne-like fragrance. It's popular, and I used it with swirling different colors. We've got ultraviolet blue on the right here, and charcoal. And I think in between here is just the natural soap color, which is, it becomes beige because of the fragrance. So that's another factor that I have to take into consideration is what the fragrance might do to the soap. It can change the color, it can
Hmm.
accelerate the reaction, it can do any number of things. And so when I'm doing a complicated swirl like this peacock one, lavender is very well behaved in soap. As you can tell by the name, lavender comes from the Roman word for washing, lava, like
Hmm.
they still have in Spanish, lava las manos.
Hmm.
It's been used in soaps since antiquity, but it also behaves well and doesn't accelerate the reaction. Speaking of lavender, this is 100% lavender soap. I also used the paper painting technique first I used a comb, and then I did it the opposite way, and then I used chopsticks and dragged the colors one in the other into the other. Makes like a chevron shape, I guess they call it.
Hmm.
Now, two of my biggest sellers, Tolkien would be happy, is Old Toby which is this one. Smells just like pipe tobacco.
Mm.
And people love it. Before that, we had long bottom leaf. I don't know if you can see, I put a little hobbit pipe there.
Yeah.
And it has the same swirl technique. This color pattern is called hidden feather, I think they call it. So as I'm laying down the soap, I put some of the regular soap and then I add a color in the middle, just flat, and more of the regular soap and then another color. I keep doing that until I get to the very top. It's kind of time consuming. Then I take a chopstick. No, I take a hanger swirl. A hanger swirl is just a piece of wire shaped like a U, and I stick it down into the soap and out the side, and that
Mm.
causes the colors to run into the other and make sort of a feather.
Mm.
So this is my newest one. I learned this from, there's all kinds of people on YouTube that make, not only do they make soap using all these different patterns, but they have contests. And that's been the best source for learning new techniques. Is every few months they'll have this contest where people not only enter and try and win, but they videotape themselves making the soap, and then people like me can learn it for free.
Mm. Cool.
So this is called ginger ale, and it's called the swirl is called something like thin shimmy. I can't remember exactly, but I used 3 different colors plus a color in between each color to help accent the
Mm.
different pores, and keep pouring back and forth in the mold until I get this pattern. Took me a while to get this one down because many of the things where you're working with colors, some patterns want a more runny soap and some want a more thick soap. And as soap goes from being oils and fats and lye water mixed together to actually being soap, it's a chemical process. It goes through stages of thickness. At first, it looks like it's very watery, and it looks like gravy. After that, it'll get to be like pudding, and it just keeps getting thicker until it's solid.
Wow.
So when I was doing this thin, skinny shimmy pattern, it needed to be very liquidy. So I found I could only do one mold, which makes 12 bars in this case, at a time. If I tried to do 2 at once, which is what I do with everything else, it was getting too thick and was failing. Didn't look pretty. This is a nod to where we live. Our island is in the Salish Sea. Puget Sound was previously called the Salish Sea. And the scent is sort of a clean, masculine scent. And 3 different colors poured in succession and it's rolled around. I'll just show you some other ones that I do. This is thin line swirls. And the object is to try and get as many colors as I can. How's the lighting on that? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see pretty well.
Okay.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. That's another one that has to be super liquidy in order to get it flow right. Same technique. This one is citrus mélange. And it smells like grapefruit and lemons and limes. Coral reef swirls. Same sort of thing going on, and it smells like suntan lotion.
Oh, interesting.
That's what gave me the idea of coral reef.
Well, it's quite a variety of soaps and styles and colors and scents that you got there. And you mentioned you also make beard oil and mustache wax.
That's right.
Can we
So
get a look
beard
at
oil,
some of that?
there's some overlap between the scents of the soap and the scents of the beard oil. For example, we have a thieves oil soap. It's very popular. It gets its name from the thieves that would rob bodies and dead bodies and sick bodies during the plague. And they superstitiously believed that if they put this fragrance on them, that they wouldn't get sick. I think it's similar to giving flowers to people, hoping that that will heal them. Somehow the scent will make you well. Well, thieves' oil consists of, see if I can remember, eucalyptus, rosemary, cinnamon, lemon, and something else that I'm forgetting. But so I combine all those essential oils into the fragrance that's for this oil, as well as the soap. The soap is a green, dark green color. Sandalwood. We have a lot of overlap with the scent soaps and the, one I wanted to talk about, I have both the soap and the oil. Cypress, pine, and cedar. Are you familiar with the reference?
Cypress, pine, and cedar? No, I can't say that I am.
Very obscure, very monastic. But on the back of the soap is a quote from Isaiah. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the cypress tree, the pine tree, and the cedar, together to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious. And the fathers have historically interpreted that to mean the cross. They believe that the cross was made out of 3 distinct woods put together. And the cross is also called the footstool of Christ. And so that's where this one gets its name from. I pour it in layers and then swirl with a hanger swirl. And the beard oil has the same oils. And mustache wax comes in a little tin like this. It's 1 ounce. And I did a lot of R&D on this one because I had to do it in the privacy of my cabin because I don't want to go around with curled mustaches as a monk, right? I got to experiment on somebody, and I have no guinea pigs. So
True.
So I also have a friend from Portland who's got quite the stash, curly mustache. And see, he was the inspiration. He needed something, and so just as you were the inspiration for my shaving soap, he was the inspiration for my mustache wax. It's called Muzzle Fuzz.
Nice.
That was a crowdsourced name. They helped me come up with that name. But it has in it, it's unique, and it's got lanolin in it, which comes from sheep's wool. And it's harmlessly obtained when they are shearing the sheep. You want to get that oil off the wool so that you don't have greasy blankets and stuff like that. So lanolin is really what is the most important ingredient here. But I also added coconut oil and foraged pine resin. So I went out in the woods and got actual pine resin. And I think it's ponderosa. And there's also pinyon in here. And that gives it most of its fragrance, really. But I also added just a smidgen of cardamom essential oil, and that rounds it out. But it's strong, it holds well, and if you keep it in your pocket, it'll stay warm and sticky, and you can reapply as needed. And it's not only good for people who want, to look like Tsar Nicholas, but just to keep your mustache out of your food during the day and the hairs in line, it helps.
I think I'm gonna have to pick some of that up for myself then.
Yeah.
Just before this video, I was doing the manual curl to keep it away from my lips and everything. Sounds like that'd be a good help.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your arts and crafts here. Is there anything else you wanted to show us that we didn't get to?
One more. This is another popular soap, Abbott's Choice Coffee, named after our Abbott's Choice coffees. And it actually has coffee in the soap. So if you go to our store, you'll find all these things: the soaps, the wax. We've been selling coffee forever, so I've added all these items to our repertoire. And I'll text you the address so you can post it, but you can buy everything at store.vashonmonks.com.
That's store.vashonmonks.com. All right. Well, my last question for you, Father, not to put you on the spot here, but this channel's got just under 9,000 people in the audience. Overwhelmingly, the demographic is men between the ages of 18 and 44, tending towards the younger side, so mid-20s or so. We live in some crazy times, as we're all familiar with, and I like to keep this channel as some sort of beacon of hope and lightheartedness and joy and the peace of Christ that people can come to when they're feeling bad and just be reminded of the beauty and glory of our faith and the God that we worship. Is there any message you have for people that are watching this and are confused about their place in the world and how to handle everything? Just given your monastic experience, your stillness, and your practice, what advice would you give to those people that just see everything going on and it's just getting them down?
Well, to quote an Athonite monk, he once said, "Forgive me, I'm an idiot." And he walked out.
So humility is the answer, is what I'm hearing.
Well, that's the answer for a monk anyway. Well, we all need to be humble. And like they say in AA, fake it till you make it. But I think what you're doing is great. We just need to network. We need to get to know each other. They're a group of men that are about the age that you're talking about that come here once to twice a year. And I believe they're planning to come at the end of July. So if they contact you, maybe you can send them to the right people. Or if they contact me, my email address is the same as our web address, vashonmonks.com. But just preface it with frmartin at vashonmonks.com. And I can give you information about that. Not only do they come up here and have a retreat and fellowship, but they also have a channel on Telegram where they talk to each other and share prayer requests and things like that there.
Well, thank God.
Yeah.
All right, Father. Well, I appreciate
and there's
that.
Montana coming up as well.
There is a third Montanica coming up as well. I will not be at this one. Are you going to this one?
No.
Is that a tree fun going?
After this, I'm going to make a lot of soap.
A man truly dedicated to his craft. You always got to appreciate that. Yeah, it was great to meet Abbot Trifon at the last one, and I got to have dinner. My wife and I had dinner next to him and Metropolitan Jonah for several hours, which was an unforgettable
my favorite
experience.
people.
Yeah, it was really great to just ask them every question we had and just see the way they are and the way they conduct themselves. And I will say, I think you're blessed to be under Abbot Trifon because that is a person who genuinely loves other people in a way that, at least
also,
for me. Oh,
there's
sorry,
also
go
a
ahead.
men's retreat in August. It's like associated with Montanica. Have you heard about that?
No, I've been staying away from the internet since Lent started for the most part.
Okay. I don't know the dates exactly, but I believe it's going to be late August, and it'll be just Ben having a retreat. But Father Trifon will be at that. As
Okay.
well.
Well,
I'm not
thank
sure if
God.
Metropolitan is coming. I haven't heard the latest on that.
I'll see if I can find a link for people and I'll throw it in the video description. Is it okay if I put your email address in the description too, if people reach out to you? Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Father. I will get this video going and hopefully get some people heading your way for some soap and mustache wax, beard oil, and whatever else they may fancy on your shop.
Well, thank you, Michael. And you have a blessed rest of your Paschal season, blessed Ascension and Pentecost.
Thank you, Father. Have a great day.
You too.